Hi there, welcome back. We're setting up for another signature for our album. And this signature is going to be a big one. So if you need to have a paper and pen, I would encourage you to get it. Because of its size and all the working pieces, I am going to work from the inside out. It's going to make more sense, and it's just more comfortable for me to do it this way. So our base piece is measuring in at 8.5 inches across and at 9 1/4 in height. Now what I'm going to do is a center tuck. I've got to get all these. So I've cut a piece that's 2 1/4 wide by the 9 1/4, and I've got it taped down the middle, and I'm just going to center this. I've made some marks where my center is, and then I'm going to cover it, and then we're just going to have a tuck that's going to come in on both sides. So I'm going to start with putting this in. Like I said, I made some tucks as to where my middle was. And I can't see from that angle. I'm going to have to turn it around so I can get it centered. There we go. Alrighty. So I went to my scraps. I am playing around with different color combinations from my scraps to figure out what I liked that was pleasing to the eye. So this is the combo I came up with. Now you've got plenty of scraps. You can use whichever piece you wish. So I'm going to go ahead and, whoops, I'm trying to turn my light off on you. I'm going to go ahead and glue this in place. I want to erase this. Where'd it go? Pencil mark. There we go. And then I'm going to run some small gems up each side. And place them down. Just give it a nice different look. We'll cut those two off and I'll save those. I'm sure I can find a place to put two little gems. So I'm going to turn it around. Uh-oh. There we go. The gem separated away from the tape that it's on. So I'm hoping I have two left at the end. Goodness sakes. I have one left at the end. I'm going to cut it off. That's the one that wanted to separate, so I'm sure I can find a place for it somewhere. This is not going to be that easy to do, but I do want to try and burnish the gems. All right. And then from the chipboard pieces, this will be the first element that I'm using. I know where I can put that gem. I'm going to center this owl right in the middle, and I'm going to put a dollop I want glue to hold this in. Okay. I'm going to put a dollop of glue, and then I'm going to, oh, I'm making a mess. Come on, get in there. I'm making a mess out of my project here. And I'm just going to set this right in the middle. And that will glue, well, the glue will dry and that will hold that gem in there. All right, so what we have now is a nice tuck on both sides. Yes, if I can get it up. There we go. So you have a nice tuck on both sides. You can even put a tuck and you can run some small photos on each side. Now the middle of this, because this is 8 1/2 across, your middle point is going to be 4 1/4, and then find the middle on the strip and then line those two up. Now the next 2 pages are going to measure 6 by 9 1/4. So you can take a 12-inch piece, cut it in half. You're going to have 6 inches across, 9 1/4 in your height. You're going to score it at a 1/2 inch, and then you're going to score it at 5/8 of an inch, and you're going to make 2 of these. And then we're going to tape this in place right up to that 1/2 inch score line. And I'm going to push back on the 5/8 score line because I want to reinforce that score. Very good. And then we'll go ahead and put in, I want these to stay together. And we'll go ahead and do the same thing with the other side. So if I stand this nice and tall, it should just line up nicely. And then again, we're going to push back. All right, now, I am using 2 sheets of this pattern. One side has the clock, one side has this beautiful checkered style pattern. So the clock is going to go on the inside, and the checkered is going to go to the outside. And I'm just going to glue these in place. Yes, I was second guessing myself there for a minute. And I'm not going to do anything really special other than I'm going to put a tuck in up here at the top, and I'm just going to use a thin bead of glue. oops, I want this signature more for large photos and plenty of photos, but I do want an element in there every little bit. So now I'm going to glue in this side. And then I'm going to repeat that pattern on this side. I love this pattern. It's very striking. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. Just a small tuck. Nothing elaborate. There. Now, for the next page, I'm just really hoping I don't get myself all twisted and turned around here. Okay, that's going to go that way. And that's going to go this way. All right, so this piece, and you're going to make 2 of them, is going to measure 11 inches across. I think I wrote this down. 9 1/4 in height. It's going to be 11 inches across, and then you're going to score in at 6 inches. And then on this is your 6-inch score. And then over here, you're going to score it at 1/2, and you're going to score it at 3/4. So 9 1/4 in height, 11 inches wide. You're going to score at your midpoint, which is 6 inches. And then you're going to score at 1/2 and at 3/4. So when this folds over, it looks like this. You've got just maybe 1/8 of an inch here from the taking that inch off the end of the 12-inch paper. Okay. And then this is going to wrap right around the gusset that you just made on the other 2 panels. So I'm going to place this roughly right on top of that 3/4 inch score line, because I want this gusset to fold over this 1/8 inch gusset. So the 1/4 inch gusset is going to eat up the 8-inch gusset. So I'm just going to fold it over. Now if I place that right, there should not be any tape showing. Yay, look at that. Voila. I'm going to re-encourage that score mark there at the 6-inch measurement. And then we're going to do the repeat pattern on the other side. Now I'm trying to keep my papers where they're supposed to be, so hang tight while I take this apart. So that's going to come on this way. And then this is going to, come on. And this is going to come this way. All right, so this is the other one. It's 11 across. You're going to score it at 6 inches, and then you're going to score at 1/2 and 3/4. Now, if you haven't scored yet, of course, this is the short one. So this piece here ends up being at about 5 1/8 across here. I'm going to do the same thing. Make sure that this is right on top of that 3/4 inch score, and then I'm going to fold it over. All right, now magnets. I'm going to use 4. I'm going to place 2 because this is pretty heavy. It's a big, thick signature. Boy, was I just tongue-tied on that. So I'm going to put, I got to keep these separate. I'm going to put 1 up here, and I'm going to put 1 down here. But I'm going to do it on this side. That's because of the next 2 pieces that are coming up. And then I'm going to put this one here. Now I want a piece of paper on that. And I want a piece of paper on that one. And then some tape. Now this is going to be important when you fold this. I want to make sure that my top and bottom are even, and I want my gussets even. So this one needed to come in just a little bit, but I'm just not going to mess with it at this point. It's on there enough. All right, and now I'm trying to remember what it was I was doing here. I think I got it. This set right here. All right, so in your paper collection, I need to play with this last. Okay, I'm confusing myself now. Okay, on the reverse side of the blue, I'm using her. I knew there was a reason why I wanted to do this while I was remembering. This is what the outside of this is going to look like. I've taken two of the large cutouts, and I took a 1-inch piece of black cardstock, the length of these. I made sure these two measured and cut the same. I scored it in half, and I put this piece on the inside of the 1/2 inch, and this piece on the outside of the 1/2 inch. By doing that, though, I was cutting into these two stamps. So I took my craft knife and I very carefully cut along these edges so that when I put this on the back side of that 1/2 inch, these would lay over this 1/2 inch seam. Doing that, it meant I had a big black hole here. So I'm taking one of those small cutouts from the 8x8 collection and I'm putting it right here. Then I mounted a magnet here, covered it with a sticker, and I put its mate on the back side. So this is going to go on the front. And then I'm going to run a bead of black gems along there. And I think because I don't want to confuse myself, I'm going to go ahead and put these down. It is going to require some tape. You can see where I started. That's actually a cutting error where I had to tape two pieces back together. When you're looking at all this black, you forget which piece of black you're looking at. So I made a boo-boo. Easy enough to cover. Just tape it back together. And when you get it all together, nobody notices where my trim is. If they can find it and see it. You know, if you stared at it for an hour, you'd probably go, oh, there's a cut there. Okay. Let's put this piece on. Did I ink this? I did. And I'm going to glue this on. I'm using the wrong piece. Too late. It's the correct piece, but it... All right, I've just messed myself up here. I'm going to glue this little booklet on. And this will stay closed because of the little magnet right there. And you can do your journaling. You could even put a photo in there if you want to. Okay, now let's see if I can't put this back together. see, this was supposed to go here. I'm going to open it up. I don't know what I've done here. You know, I use these paper clips to keep things together, and it just ends up falling all apart. But I do remember this. So you're going to take, there's 2 of these in your, if you've got a double pack. I'm using 2, and I'm using 1/2 of each on the inside of this big open spread. I'm just going to close this up for a little bit because I want to be able to glue all this in. And then I think it'll come together for me. So again, these are all 12 by 12 cuts to the same sheet. And then you're going to use each side of it. So here's the black cat side, and then here's this, it looks like a black gear side, the reverse side to the black cat. Now be mindful when you're placing this in here that you don't dump it on top of that score mark. And you also don't want it landing here in the middle. You want it to come right in between the 2. Now, I do remember this. Here, I'm going to create a small side pocket, nothing fancy. I'm just going to let this bright floral kind of brighten things up and pull it all together. You have all kinds of scraps, so you can use whatever you want that makes your eye happy. I'm being mindful of my score mark, but I really like this. It just adds some brightness to the inside of this big page. And then I took one of the small cards from the 8x8, and I'm just going to place it here as a little embellishment. Wipe that glue off on the back side of that so it doesn't glue it closed. All right. Now I'm going to move over here, and I'm going to repeat the same process. So this one's going to go on the inside. And then this one's going to go to the outside of the panel. And then we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to place a pocket, a tuck. And it's going to go right in here. And then we're going to glue down this piece. And I'm using this small piece from the 8x8. As a little embellishment here. So this is your, so far, the inside build, and then you have these, this opens up this way. These are your two outside pieces. And now I need to cover these two panels, and I've got to make sense of the two pieces I have left. So this blue piece is the back side to this. And rather than cut into another piece of paper, I am using it here on this side. And then this is what's left of this piece here. Now, I could, if I wanted to, do it this way so that there's kind of a color flow, but that's not how my eye saw it earlier. So let me, I wish you could talk to me and tell me what you would prefer. I'm thinking about pulling in the blue all the way across. That's what I'm going to do. Thank you for the words of encouragement. See, I could hear you. I could hear you talking to me. Yeah, it'll brighten this up by doing it this way. Oh, what a dung. Oh, I hope I don't ever have to get into this. I meant to tape this because of the magnets. I hope this works. I really do. Okay. All right. I feel good about it. I got good magnet contact. Now I have two cards. I want to make two tucks down here in the lower, and I had intended on I'm going to reverse these, and I'm going to put the blue on blue over here, and then I will put the darker color over here. So that's and I want the tuck to come in on this side, so I'm going to tape to the left. And then we'll glue this down. I'm going to need to trim this up just a little bit because I swapped cards. And they're just a little bit different in size. And then I want this to come in from the inside, so I'm putting the tape out here on the outside. And then the only thing I have left to do is my bead of black gems. So if I pick that up and separate just a smidgen, I should be, no. I do not like that big gap at the top. So I'm going to realign this, I hope. Come on. Oh, I like that better. All right, so we have a book. This opens up. We have a nice image. We have a tuck, another tuck here, big spot here for some large photos. This opens up to a nice tuck, nice photo opportunities there. And then each of these opens up with a tuck to the inside of the panel. All right, so let's go ahead and put the tape on, and let's get it in our book. Cap off my glue before it dries up on me. All right. This is a pretty stout signature, so I'm going to use my 5/8 inch tape. And then I want my 3/8 inch to put a couple of support strips down the middle. Okay, let's get a book. And this is going to be signature number 3, but it's being placed on page number 2. Now, I'm going to show you why I do something. I'm taking this gusset on this edge right here, and I'm bringing it right up to the edge of the page. And I used 3/8 of an inch markers, you can see it here, and here's this one, so that when I placed my signatures in here, because I do 1/4 inch buildups, I needed to make sure that I had the space to do that. So I have just about 1/8 of an inch left of this so that it's not going to interfere when I go to turn the page. That's why I do those things, just in case you're wondering. Everybody has a different way of doing things and they have different reasons. And that is mine. So now I'm going to take my gusset. I've got to get the black off the black so I can see this. I'm going to take and bring it right up to the edge, and then I want to make sure I've got it even here. I'm not quite sure which direction I put that tape, so I'm gonna... Now when I pull this tape, you see how easy that collapsed right there? When I pull this tape, I want to make sure that that gusset stands up tall. There's a lot of weight on it, and I don't want it collapsing. So I'm going to make sure that it stands up straight when I go to lay it down against the page. I'm going to sneak in here and get this piece that I... Now the same thing is true for this gusset. I don't want it collapsing, and I'm having to kind of tweak this to get in there. But I'm going to hold on to it. Make sure that my gusset stays nice and tall, and then I will lay it down. Want to make sure that that tape and all the air bubbles are out of there. So there we go. That's a pretty big signature. I had fun making it. I hope you did as well. So the next one will be here. So I'll see you then. Bye-bye.